welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness. We have an amazing release today from Desiree Tangles with Paper include a thank you. Holy buckets. So I don't know if anybody that's on. Welcome everybody. Hi Cordelia. Hello Luann. I'm so happy you guys are joining me on a Sunday afternoon. I almost forgot that it was time change today, so when Desiree was done earlier this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like 11, and then it was actually 10, so I had a couple more hours. So glad that you are joining me on a Sunday afternoon. Post Desiree's live, releasing her stuff for you today. A good release. A really good release. I don't know if anybody watched it that's logged in. If you watched her, she is right. She said towards the end that she probably put a challenge in front of me with this release, and she was right, she did. So it took me a little while looking at this release. Love the release, by the way, so not saying that whatsoever, but some of these were a little challenging for me to kind of think outside the box and what to do with it. So it took me a little while. I got there because I think I have some really cool cards. However, Desiree's been saying for quite a while now, and I think it was since her last release. It was about going back to the basics, and so that really stuck with me. And that's kind of what I did with this release. I just had to put aside all the oh my gosh, what do I do with this, and go back to the basics on some of this. However, I've gotten a whole slew of new products, and it was a good chance for me to mix in some new die cutting, some new blending stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited to show you my cards, and we're gonna make some cards. I got a little ambitious and I'm kind of prepped, but not really prepped. We're gonna try to knock out. Let me look at my notes. I think 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. We're gonna try to knock out 4 cards for you today. However, I want you to when we make these 4 cards. Here's the deal. Think easy. Think basics. And when you look at this stamp set, I kind of took this stamp set. And for a lack of a better term, I deconstructed it. And what I mean by that is I took it apart and figured out how can I do these as a full stamp, which if you watched Desiree's live this morning, everything she did was full stamp. I think she broke up a couple of them and stamped out corners and things, which I did too. But I deconstructed this on what else I can do with this as not looking at as a full stamp. So that's where we're going. I'm going to do some easy techniques. These techniques you have seen before. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I just want to show you just options, and I want to show you color, and I want to show you some fun stuff. I used a lot of embossing on this release, a ton. I don't even know if I did a card without embossing on it, to be honest. And then die cutting on this, tons of die cutting with a little bit of fussy cutting. So let's go down, show you her 4 stamp sets. Hello everyone. Hello Linda. Welcome you guys. I'm so happy you guys are joining me today. Let's go down. Let's take a look at this release. If you didn't watch Desiree's live from this morning, show you these 4 stamp sets. I'm going to make my cards first, kind of show you these techniques, some ideas with these. Then I'm going to show you the cards I made. Yeah, I'm teasing you, and I'm keeping you till the end so you can see my cards at the end. And I got 2 cards that are still drying, and I don't want to touch them and screw them up. So we're gonna put this towards the end. All right. So let's go down. Before I do that, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you follow me here on YouTube's and on the Instagrams. All kinds of card hops, lots of stuff from Desiree Tangles, other design teams, all kinds of stuff out there. If you're watching, don't forget to smash that thumbs up. Would love to have you just give me some love, and it helps that algorithm on YouTube. So let's head down and take a look at these stamps. Okay, we've got 4 stamps. I'm going to start with this one. So this one here is a tangled stocking. And I'm just going to give you preference on each of these thought process. This was my hardest one to what to do. And how to make this one work. So this was the toughest one for me. Great sentiments on all of these. Making Spirits Break, Very Merry, Holly Jolly. I'm going to just take this off because the stamp is probably can't see it as well with the stamp on. There we go. But a wonderful set. I recently saw some color combos for Christmas of 2025. Some pinks, some light greens, and some browns. That's the first card I did with this, and I kind of kept that theme throughout. Um, the pinks and the browns and the greens and the light greens and things. So you'll see that kind of trend now through my collection today. But this one's fun. All kinds of techniques that you can use with this one. You can watercolor. I did colored pencil. I did gold gel pen to accent this. So you can, I know Desiree did one that I almost did actually, and then just did a splash of watercolor and stamped it out. So there's great options. You got tons of Zentangles in here that you could play with color. You could play with design. Tons of playroom here, right? I think you're gonna like the one. One of my faves out of mine is I cut out this piece and used it, and I think you're gonna like that one. Then this one. So this one here is a tangled rope. Now, she's got mostly fall and Halloween sentiments. Then there's No Beauty Without Some Strangeness by Edgar Allan Poe. And I know this is her favorite. I know this was probably geared towards more Halloween. I've used this in a Halloween form, and I've used it in kind of everyday and holiday form to show you that even though you've got these sentiments paired with it, you can think Halloween, you can not think Halloween, right? You turn it upside down, or not necessarily upside down, because I know Desiree says there's no up, there's no down on these, right? So then you've got the hearts that are kind of more heart-shaped looking. So it just depends on how you lay this out on what you're going to get, right? I did slightly deconstruct this one, and you'll see that when I show you the card. And I'll just tease you by saying I cut out these little holes and did something over here, but we'll hold that till the end. This one is, I like these hearts. She's got these hearts in a couple other designs. One of her stamps is a tangled heart, which is one of my faves. So this one I love. I love this one. It gives me some Beetlejuice vibes a little bit because of this. So, and I'll show you my cutesy little Halloween one we did with this. I did do one Halloween, because why not? I couldn't resist not using these sentiments. All right, next one up. This one here is a tangled frame. Love this. I mean, I honestly, any good floral for me is a good one. Let me just take this out so you can kind of see this a little easier. Love this one. I have deconstructed this one a couple times actually, and did some different watercolor and shimmer kind of stuff techniques on this one. So this one particular, and I would say probably the tangled rope. You know, she talks about these 5x7. Her and Biddy are huge fans of 5x7. I'll be honest, I think in my whole lifetime of making cards, I've maybe made 3 until today. This is also where I forced myself outside the box with this and thought, all right, she has made these with 5x7 in mind. Shawn, get out of your box and make some 5x7 cards. So I think Des would be extremely happy. I got some 5x7s to show you. And she is right. I actually like the A2s because I feel like I can fill, but sometimes I overfill. And then I did 5x7s going, okay, do I need to add more or no? Because then like real estate is really good and it's prime. It's good to have some open space. So I struggled with too much or not too much, but I think you're going to like the cards I came up with for the 5x7s. And I made, oh gosh, probably 4 or 5 5x7s, which is double what I've made in my lifetime in one release. So there you have that. All right, love this one. Okay, last one here is some Biddy Tangles. Now, obviously named after our dear friend and my design team member, Biddy Penny, and I love these. I love these. I actually done a couple different things with these this time that I haven't done, and I know she came up with a tangled box. I think that was the last release, so similar shapes, you know, and just different designs, different Zentangles in there, but I took these up a little notch, and if I have time, I came up with another idea as I was prepping this morning and I didn't have time to make it. We might try it today. If not, we're going to talk about it for sure, of deconstructing these. And I'm deconstructing because for those of you that may look at these going, oh my gosh, look at that design, that's so much, and how do I color that? And I'm not good at coloring, and I'm not good at this. You are, because if you deconstruct these, I promise you, If you break these down, you can color these. You can make these into something. And I wish I would have had time to. My last idea is I was watching Des this morning, but then I didn't have time to make it. So we might try it if we have time today. If I can knock that out in time. But these, I love these, and I will tell you. Look at these. Every single sentiment on these that she has in this release and every release, hands down, these are the best sentiments. I mean, honestly, the best sentiments. Believe, live your story, shine, best always, be you, make today amazing. You are enough. Love with all your heart. What was the Halloween one? Everything Halloween, haunted greetings, cozy autumn, have a spooky, everything Halloween. And then one of my favorites out of one of her releases is just be authentic. I mean, honestly, come on, you can't get more true, more positivity, more just put it out there, right? So let's do our first card. Okay, so first card I want to do simple masking, and then I'm gonna grab my ruler here. Simple masking, and you have options with this. Now, do you want to do? Let me find my T-square. Do you want to do just stamping? Do you want to do emboss resist? Do you want to do emboss and color or emboss and watercolor? What do you want to do? And you can do any of these techniques with this technique. Okay, I'm just gonna for purpose of time today, I'm gonna stamp, and then we're just gonna do some simple ink blending. But we're gonna show you as we do this all the options. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go we're gonna go 2.5 and 2.5 down on this side in my corner. So I'm going from this corner 2.5 and 2.5. Okay. And I'm just gonna connect that. That doesn't look like 2.5. Is that 2.5? That is 2.5. All right. Then I'm just gonna connect these very lightly. I'm using a pencil because I'm gonna erase it when we're done. Very light, just very, very light. 2 inches there. I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite corner. Again, I want to do easy techniques for you today, just to show you that these are extremely amazing designs. They're very intricate designs, right? But you do some easy technique, and you've got some amazing cards. And from a mass-produced standpoint, too, even for Christmas and stuff, right? I mean, you could easily make these in bulk. All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just using 3M masking tape, and I'm going to mask off my corner. Okay? Easy peasy, nothing complicated so far. Your kids could help do this for you, right? All right, now I'm going to grab my stamping tool, and I'm just going to throw this up in the corner. And now, here's where you can pick any one of these stamps. Literally, any one of these stamps. I am going to go for, I'm just going to grab these because they're going to be easy. I could grab this one, and I could stamp this over here. I could grab this one, and I could do as much of this one as I wanted. I could stamp the whole floral. I could just stamp a little piece with a little bit of frame in there. Again, whatever you want to do. I'm going to grab these because they're going to be easy, and I'm going to do the scrolls, I think. And I'm just laying the scrolls in there, so it just slightly overlays my masking tape, or my 3M tape. Okay. Now I'm just going to use black ink, and we're just going to create this in our corners, and then we'll flip and do the same again. Oh yeah, Cordelia. Bookmarks with these would be so easy. if you have a bookmark die cut, and then you could just stamp the die cut. If you've got a Cricut, they've got bookmark templates. You could have them pre-cut and then just stamp over that. Okay, now that I've got that corner, we're just going to flip and do the same exact thing. And depending what you're making this for is color, right? So what color do you want this to be? A nice black and white would be really pretty. Just leaving this black and white, maybe accenting with some gold in there or something. All right, let me just wipe this one off and get this out of my way. If you all could see my floor right now from spending the last 2 days getting cards ready for this release and some other things, I think I'm literally knee deep in paper scraps and dimensional backing right now all over the floor. It has been crazy. All right, I'm just going to take, and I just want to make sure that this ink is dry. So I'm just going to dry this up just a little bit before I ink blend. This would look cool. Black. I'm tempted just to leave this black and white, actually. Now here's where if I embossed this, right? Did the same exact thing, but just embossed it. Any black embossing, gold embossing, whatever embossing color, you could easily watercolor these and keep it within the lines with your little walls of the embossing. You could use watercolored pencils and color in, and easily do this. You could ink blend and do it. I'm going to stick with kind of this. Actually, you know what? Let's make this fall. We'll do a fall one out of this one. I've been doing you'll see my cards are kind of a lot of Christmassy kind of ones. So let's just make this fall. Why not? Why not, I say. Okay, so then let's just take, I'm going to take some, go over here. And I'm going to take I like to switch gears, like apparently during a live when I have stuff ready and prepped, and then I change my mind, and so I go back to the drawing board digging. Let's see, do I want this one? Sure. We're going to do a little squeezed lemonade with some ripe persimmon. All right. Just make sure when you do this, your ink is dry. Otherwise, you're going to end up smearing all that ink. Then we'll do our squeezed lemonade. Oh, this would be really cool over pattern paper. I actually almost took some pattern paper and just embossed over it and threw it down on a couple of my cards, but I never got there. But I did think of just throwing these over pattern paper would be really cool. All right, now all I need to do, let me go reach down. I'm going to grab my, while I'm thinking of it, we're going to go this color and a little standard black. So let me cut that one really quick behind me. Let's see. So I'm going to make a full panel of 5.5 by 4.25. I love this because look how clean that edge gets too. Get that little bit off in the middle there. Which would, another thing that would be cool now is to take that again, and let's do it. I'm gonna do one more thing on this then. See how I change gears when I've already got this pre-planned, and then I'm like, oh, that would be super cool. I'm gonna throw this just down in the middle here. I'm gonna do just a one stamp on this. We're gonna use the same stamp, okay? And I'm just gonna lay this like so. It's not gonna reach, but I'm okay. I'm gonna leave those corners empty. I'm just gonna center this. Okay. Yep. These are, I need to wash these. They're so dirty from doing so many cards. All right. Now, I'm going to take a very, very, very light, let's do a very light yellow. See here, where's my limoncello? So I'm just I'm doing limoncello, just very, 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 I'm not even hardly inking this up, just very lightly. I'm not going to put a ton of pressure on here, and I'm just going to lightly, that moved on me, didn't it? And just a light tap. I just want a little stenciled looking background. Okay. All right. Now put that back in my corner. And let's add a sentiment from the same set. Why not? I think just having a little, you are enough. Let's just do you are enough. A nice thin script on this one. Okay. Just do that in black. All right. And then let's just assemble. So this is going to be card number 1. Again, when I say deconstruct, this is my deconstruct. I just took portions of these, not necessarily the whole stamp except for this piece right here, and I just deconstructed and used portions of it versus trying to think of how to use that whole stamp. All right? And I've done that a lot with this whole collection. And just because that's where my brain went. No particular reason, except that's where my brain went. Okay, now I had cut this to full size, so I'm going to cut this down just a little bit. We're going to go down to, I think I did 4. So I'm going to take another, we're going to go 5 3/4. So we're going to take a quarter off here. 1/8 there. And an 1/8 here. And then I had, take that down to another there. And there. And I'm just making my layered pieces now. So I had, let's see, it's 5, so we're gonna go 5 1/4 by 4. And we have ourselves a nice little fall themed card. So this is idea number 1 for you of my thought process, and I'm just making cards showing you how I broke these sets down to make cards on this release. I did a lot of black, you'll notice, for my matting, partially because of the colors that I used. I wanted to really pop out, and some craft. I went back to the basics, and then I got thinking about, you know, Des puts a lot of craft and black with her cards. And so I was just kind of bringing out what we trend with on these. So, okay, so there's idea number 1 for you. Deconstructing a very simple design, very simple shape, but look at the design. Now imagine this embossed in gold. Put this on black and emboss in gold, and then put a strip of white down the center, or another color, and do something in the same, and get that to pop off of black. Just think of your options with this, right? This is one card, but how many options do I have with this one card, same design? Okay, all right, card number 1. Now, card number 2, I did this card in the collection, and I want to do it again. So I took one of my new, and I'm going to use a different color, but I took one of my new favorite embossing colors, which is called Bubbly by Brutus Monroe. I'm going to just take, we're going to take this same stamp set now, and I'm going to use this one this time, because I think I used the other one on the other card. All right. I'm just going to go off center here just a little, or off the kilter a little bit, so I can go off the page with this. Let me wipe my hands. I'm getting ink on everything, it seems like. Yeah, Cordelia, and that's some of these I'm making now. I'm just trying to come up with easy cards. Anybody can do it with these stamps, right? Like, I just didn't want this to be complicated. All right, one of my favorite layouts is having a banner, whether it be down the center this way or down the center this way or across. And then I like the sentiments either on top or below. And we're going to go, I'm going to go up on this one this time. Pick this up. And now we're going to emboss this. And I'm going to do, I think we're just going to go, let's go black. I think I might go black. Black. Now let's go gold. We'll go gold. Where's my little powder tools? Little powder. This technique I love because it is so easy and quick. So I'm thinking about, like, if I'm going to let's just say I wanted to make a set of these, a set of 5, little set of 5 of these. I could emboss 5 cards in a row. So I would ink 5, emboss 5, and then we're going to watercolor this, watercolor 5, and then assembly line, then we would mat it, right? Okay. Grab my folded paper here. So now I'm just going to throw gold on this. And I'll cut this down to size here once we get this embossed. Okay. And now again, these are techniques that I used on all these cards for today, for this release. I never used to wait until this was hot enough and I would just start embossing, but I will tell you, let it heat up. Your embossing powder will melt so much smoother, so much quicker with a very hot tool. All right. Here's what I love about this one. You can do whatever color you want. 1 color, 2 colors, 3 colors. That is completely up to you. I'm going to, where's my clean water? You guys, I have jars of clean water, dirty water, extra dirty water. All right, now I'm just going to wet this down. Not crazy wet, but just on the surface wet. Staying within the lines. Okay. And now I'm going to go, I want to do a little bit of this, and we're going to go a little bit of that with that. So I'm just getting my watercolors wet here. Now, I'm going to take my watercolor, I'm not coloring certain things, if that makes sense. I'm coloring everything. Mix it up. Leave gaps in your watercolor if you want. So idea behind this too is if you have purchased watercolors in the past and then they just sit there because you don't feel like you're good at watercolor, you don't know how to use them, here's ideas, right? Just play. You don't have to be perfect to do this. Just be careful going around your edges is where you got to be perfect. My pink only comes in shimmer. I don't have a pink in this set. I need to get a set that has just pink. I use pink way more than I think I do. And every time I go to get pink, I'm like, I don't want pink shimmer. I want pink. Then I got to make it with my white and my red. And then I'm like, ugh, I want just pink. I don't want to mix. All right, I'm going to get this just a little bit wet now. Soften up my edges here a little bit. And that's it. Let me just see if I can clean up a little bit where I went over here. The joys of watercolor, and this isn't watercolor paper, by the way. I should have put it on watercolor paper. It would have picked up even better. Is re-wet it, it'll move. Make a little mistake, re-wet it, and you pick it up with your brush. Okay. Just dry this up. Yeah, Cordelia, I'm not the best at that. I'm like, heck, I'm not going to wait 30 seconds. I have learned it does help. So I am forcing myself to do so. Give it a good dry. This one, again, I want this to be my feature. I want this to be my focal point. I'm not adding any other color for my background, for my mat. I'm just going to put this on simple black. This is my card, if that makes sense, right? Like, this should be my focal point. So, if you have not, since Desiree's live this morning, if you head to, I don't know what her inventory looks like. She can probably pop in the chat what her inventory looks like if she's sold out of anything. But these are her 4 new sets you can get. I missed this morning. I don't remember, Des. You can throw in the chat, please, if there's a bundle, what you got. I don't know what you got for pricing. A bundle for all 4. IncludeAthankyou.com. Check them out. But I'm going to tell you, if you're going to get these, there are 2 other sets you need to consider. The Tangled Botanical, and then there's the Heart one. Those are my 2 favorites. I have done so many ideas. You can go on my Instagram, YouTube. I've got videos on some of these as well of my favorites. But you've got to add those to your bucket as well. You'll thank me later. All right, good and dry. Gotta be careful. That heat tool, drying tool, just heats up that embossing powder and gets it soft. Okay, where's my cutter? I'm gonna let this dry just a second here. All right, my favorite size, so I go 5 1/8. So let's just go down to 5. And we'll go 5 3/4. So this should be, yeah, I just need to take off that. Okay. Throw this up on black. I took the metal tip off of my glue because I get so frustrated. It clogs so easy, no matter if I put a pin in it or not. I can't keep it from clogging. And now it comes out, if I over squeeze, it comes out a little too hard. So if anybody has a good glue they like, if you have a good glue bottle, maybe I just need a different bottle. I don't know. Pardon my head. I'm going to try to go to the side here so see if I can get this. Gave it a little extra black just for the pop. Like so. All right, let's do a sentiment, and I want this. I like this BU. No, actually, we're gonna do this one. I didn't use this one yet. There is no beauty without some strangeness by Edgar Allan Poe. Love that. Okay. Throw my sentiment, and you have, let's go this way. I want that on the bottom, actually. Card number 2. Not upside down, Shawn. That would be good. Not to go upside down. So, easy technique, right? Didn't deconstruct this one, but I just ran it off the edges so it's not a whole featured rectangle. So one and done. Oh, sorry, I'm off screen. All right, number 2. Again, color this how you want to. You could mask this off and ink blend that. You could watercolor these. You could watercolor pencil and then do each little individual thing and color each element of this Zentangle. I just blotchy and then go, right? So again, or colored pencils. You'll see some with colored pencils that I did in my set to show you. But again, color this any way you want. Put it in black and white. Put it gold on black, and then leave it as is. Maybe do a white sentiment. Again, different options, same design. So I could make this look how many different ways, right? Okay, let me just put these away so I can get them out of my work area here. I really need to go wash all these. These are getting a little dirty. This one is over here. All right, card number 2. Card number 3, you're going to love this one. You're going to love it. All right, card number 3. I did some pre-cutting on this one. This is going to show you my love of some of my new dies. All right, I have cut out 3 pieces of this new die, the little, I don't know what they're called, the cut-off corner die, whatever you want to call it. This is not from Desiree. This is my matte layer. We're going to emboss this layer, okay? And then I'll show you what we're going to do. New technique I recently tried. I put a video out on this, on my series. Okay, I'll try that. I saw this on the tubes and was like, I actually need to try that because, wow. And so I thought these stamp sets are perfect for this technique. Again, deconstructing it, not using it as a whole stamp, if that makes any sense. Powder. All right, we're going to powder this up. Now, pick your stamp. Whatever stamp you want out of this. I'm gonna go, do I want this one or do I want, we're gonna go this one actually. I did a lot with that stamp already. I'm gonna use the frame. And what I want is cover this up as much as I can with my stamp. I didn't even pre-do, I just made the size that I wanted. I will stamp it, I'll figure out the stamp later. You can, if you're gonna plan and organize, then plan and organize. By all means, plan and organize. For measure this, what do I need for my die cut, all that kind of stuff. I just did not plan and organize. I just wanted this size. Okay. Now, I'm going to emboss this. I want to make sure, let me wipe this really quick. You're going to want a really good embossing on this for this technique. Okay. So make sure, I'm gonna probably stamp this about 3-4 times to make sure I got good tack on my emboss. Yeah, Cordelia, I was just gonna say that. I figured you were gonna pop in and say that ornament is your favorite one so far. Cordelia has sent me some pictures and she's done some amazing, really beautiful cards with that ornament. Again, some of these are not new techniques. I'm just trying to inspire you to not be afraid of these Zentangles and think of them outside of their intended use, right? This one was made for a 5x7, obviously. And I know Des said earlier, Shawn and Biddy will be the first two to take these in a different way. Yeah, I think which we do. I sometimes will look at these and go, yeah, no, don't want that frame, but I want this piece. And I love that. I love that Desiree just lets us do, too. Like, she's like, you guys just take these and just play. Just play and do what you want to do with these. Use them how you want to use them, and I really appreciate that because it makes it more fun. Versus, here's my 5x7. I need you to make me a whole bunch of 5x7 cards with that. Yep, I love that she does that. Okay, now, take a brush. If you have an older brush, probably use that. I'm looking, I don't have any older brushes sitting here. Use an older brush for this. You don't need to necessarily use a new one. So I've embossed this design. I stamped this, I think, 4 times, right? Now I'm going to take some Perfect Pearls, and I'm using blush Perfect Pearls. Don't dump this because you're going to waste. This goes a long way, so I'm just dipping my brush in, and now you're just going to brush this over everything that you've embossed. And this looks so beautiful on black. You can do this on other papers too, different colored papers, that you're just going to have to be mindful then of the color that you use of Perfect Pearls. But black, everything pops off this black so well. All right, that's waste. I'm not going to worry about dumping that back in this because these last you like a lifetime anyway. All right, now tappy off. And you really got to tap to get some of that off. And then you can take, if you want to clean this up just a little bit more, you can take a brush and lightly brush to get that off of the rest of the paper before we set this, because we're going to set this with water. Is that not pretty? And look at this floral. Any of these designs look so pretty doing this. I tested a couple of these just to see how they looked with the other stamps. This one was my favorite to do this with. All right. One last little swipey swipe. All right, now to get this set, you're going to spray this with water. But here's what you're going to do. Let me get this off my surface. Do not spray your water directly onto this. Like, don't take this and just spray to set it. You're going to spray the water in the air, and you're going to swipe this through the air and swipe it through the air. So I'm going to do this a couple times. I'm going to back up just a little bit so you can kind of see. Now you see all my work, my mess. So spray, spray, spray. It's like, you know how you spray cologne and then you walk through it? Or perfume, whichever you wear. All right. And I'm doing it until I see that surface get just a little damp on my card. And then you're going to dry it. Get it good and dry. I am a huge fan, I'm a huge fan of Perfect Pearls. I watercolor with them so much. You're good, like, I've done it so much with Desi's stuff where I've stamped and embossed and then add pearls to either ink, like my stamping ink, and use it wet, or just water and Perfect Pearls. I love them so much. Oh my gosh, your mica powders on this would look so flippin' cool. Okay, I'm not going to put a sentiment on this one because I feel this one is so pretty without a sentiment to. And besides, where would I put it? I don't want to cover up this pretty front. So I would actually put the sentiment for this one inside my card. I feel like this would be such a beautiful anniversary card. This would be such a beautiful sympathy card with this, like, colors like this and shimmer and. So I'm actually just using a ton of dimensionals to pop this up. Guys, I don't throw anything away. If you've watched me at all, watch my scrappy shorts, all my little pieces I stick on the side of my roll and then I use it just like that. I'm like, oh, perfect size. That would go there now. As I think most of us are, we are craft hoarders in some shape or form, unless you tell me to speak for myself. But like, I am a scrap hoarder. Because I feel like stuff is so expensive. I want to use every ounce that I possibly can of my paper and stuff, my dimensionals and everything. So I don't hardly throw much. I don't throw much away. It has to get down to like these little tiny square pieces for me to throw it away. Okay. Let's layer these up. And pardon for getting in the way here. I tried to find a shimmer paper that was close to this blush. All right. Throw this on a card base and you've got yourself an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous card. I'll zoom back in here. Is that pretty or what? Imagine this in green or red. Red for Christmas. This would look fantastic for Christmas. Put some sparkle red paper or some silver or something behind here, or even this layer could be a sparkle paper, or, you know, glitter paper. All right, that is card number 3. I have one more card that I would like to make, and this goes back to Des has done this a ton on her channel. I've done this kind of on my channel. And again, this is that deconstruct, right? I have watercolored paper. I have my pan set of watercolors. If you have, you grab them. If you have powdered watercolors like these, I have the Numo Shimmer powders. I know there's Lindy brand out there. I have limited of mine. I have maybe 10 of these. You can do the powders and then wet this and let it go shimmery. Should we do that instead? Hang on. Let me grab this one and this one. And this one, actually. So you could take and wet this down like I did this one, but we're not gonna stay in the lines, okay? I was gonna just wet this corner and then dabble some watercolor. You could use distress sprays. You could ink smush and just do portions of this ink smushing, however you wanted to do it. Let's just do my shimmer powders, okay? So I just want a corner of this. I'm using 3 colors. I wanted that pink lavendery kind of something something. All right. I don't have the best spray bottle, so I've got to mist mine to get it set before I get too close. Otherwise, it blows it off the page. I need a new water bottle. I have a distress one somewhere, but yeah, I can't find it. So the idea here is I want, oh, there we go. And now what I'm going to do is dab some of this up and keep some of that dark and dry. I want this kind of concentrated in the corner here. I love getting messy. I don't feel I've had a good craft day unless my fingers are every color in the book and everything's on the floor and I've got mess all over. I'm not the best at like putting stuff away at the same time, so yeah. All right, let me get this whipped up. Now I've deconstructed all of these ones. I've got some deconstructed I'm going to show you here in a second, and then I've got some not deconstructed so I can show you what I've done with the whole pieces of these stamps. Well, hey me, Gaz Andrea. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for stopping in. Hello, Christina. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me. I know this is a Sunday afternoon, midday, which is kind of a weird time, and I appreciate the stop by. So we're just featuring the new holiday fall release here with Include a Thank You, includeathankyou.com. You'll see all her bundle and all her goodies over there. All right. Now I'm going to put this in my Misty. And I need to put this in my upper corner because I'm just going to stamp on this one side. Since I have used the frame, I've used the rectangles. Oh, you know what? Let's use, because let's just think, right, this is the holiday one, right? It's the stocking. Let me get this so you can see that. The stocking, okay? But I want to stretch my stamps too. So this isn't just necessarily a holiday stamp. Obviously, these are bulbs, so if you use that portion, which you'll see a card I did here in a second. But what if I just used the foot portion? And get that to, I want to get as much of this stamp on here as I can. Actually, I could go this way. We're going to go this way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be careful not to ink up the bulbs. So I'm going to push this up like so. Okay. And then I'm going to take a sticky note and I am going to mask off the bulbs. I'm going to use some archival because of that shimmer. It just sticks to that shimmer just a little bit better. I'm going to try to ink this up really good so I can just get this in one impression since I masked that off, but if I have to remask it, that's okay. All right, remove my masks. And stamp. And I'm not worried about this piece because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to cover that. Keep your fingers crossed I got a good impression in a one and done situation. Oh, Cordelia, I've totally done that. I have totally done that. Then I went, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Like, how come I couldn't figure that out? I couldn't, like, what did I do? What did I do? Okay. Gonna leave that as is. Now, I'm going to take, yes, we are, okay. Put that over here. Take my black. What do I have for sentiments on that one? I don't want to make that Christmas. I don't want Christmas. We're going to take another one. Oh, I just dropped it. Hang on, I dropped it. Clear stamp on colored carpet, yay. I just dropped it. Stand by. We're going to actually do... I'm going to pull one from her Tangled Floral box. Again, this will show you just the... I got another one I've used to another different stamp. So, let's just do another quote. How's that? Not all who wonder are lost. Okay. Last card, you guys. I'll show you my idea. Since I've at the hour, I'll show you my other idea that I did not have time to make a card for, of deconstructing, and then I'll show you my cards. I'm almost done with this one. Almost done. So hang with me, y'all. All right. Just gonna go bright white. Make that pop off the black. Dump. What do you guys think? Are we liking these? Are we digging just seeing how we can deconstruct in the options versus using full stamp, or what are we thinking so far? Just give me a couple comments on what you're thinking. And don't forget, I'd appreciate the thumbs up. If you've not thumbsed up, give me a thumbs up if you're digging this. I would greatly appreciate it. Lets me know I'm on the right track with showing stuff. Especially stuff that I just like to use and do stuff that people can do, right? Like, sometimes, especially design team stuff, we get a little crazy because we want to do some really cool things, and we're trying new things at the same time, but I know that sometimes basic is good, right? And basic can be pretty. Basic can be a really awesome card. Just needed to shave a little bit off of that. All right. Let's, on this card, I pre-cut out my mats because I already knew I wanted to do this lavendery kind of something with this color theme, and I just figured you guys already know how to cut out mats and measure, and if you're a measurer or not a measurer, all the same, right? All good. Lay that down to dry. I'm going to cut that off just a little bit off that edge. Put that nice and tight to the edge there. Right, Cordelia, and that's why I feel like sometimes, when we do these things, it's like we forget the simple stuff sometimes, because there's so many new things that come out and so many new techniques, and I feel like these are basic techniques, easy cards. I'm not going overboard, and I think I'm making some pretty decent cards, right? That I know the recipient would absolutely love, and simple product, right? Like, I'm not using any crazy pastes or anything, and glitter. I have glitter. You'll see some of that stuff on my other designs coming up here in a second. But all right, where I got janky and I cut off the bulbs off the top, and it got a little cuts off there. I'm just going to cover that up, and I'm just going to make a little flag, little banner cut here on the end. Actually, should I just go? Let's do banner. It's never a mistake. It's an opportunity. Most mistakes I find are completely fixable. All right, and I'm just going to cover that up so you won't even tell. Go right to the edge of there. And let me just hold this up to make sure I'm good and straight. All right, card number 4. All right, let me show you these 4 cards. I'll just clear stuff out of sight, out of mind. All right, let's just start from the beginning. Card number 1, masking. Put this down the center, masked, stamped, ink blended, made it a fall card. Make it a red card, make it a green card for holidays, however you want to do that, right? So this was card number 1, deconstructing those stamp sets. Card number 2, not deconstructing the stamp sets, making a simple banner. I heat embossed it with gold. I can do this in watercolor. I could colored pencil. I could ink blend. You could do shimmer powders. You could any technique, or not do any technique at all, and then just pick your embossing color powder for what you want. This could be just simple black and white and a black embossing powder and call it a day. This would look great. All black, white, and black sentiment. Done. And you could even just stamp it in black and mass produce this and no problem. All right, we went a little extra on this one and did some die cutting, fancy paper, and then we just did some embossing with perfect pearls. Again, this one would actually look beautiful in a deep red on black and make it look almost like a poinsettia or something with the ribbon and things. This would be great in red or green on that black. No sentiment on this one. I'm going to put the sentiment on the inside of this card. Number 4, I just used the stocking and stamped that corner, a little sentiment on it, and some lavender and light purple mats with a black and white sentiment. Easy, right? Easy, easy, easy. All right, now let's move on. I can't wait to show you guys. I'm so excited. I can't even stand it. All right, let me show you my pre-made cards. I'm going to do these in groups. So we're going to start with, let's start with this set. And I'm going to, let me go back to the name here just so I can call these out. This one, we're going to start with the Some Bitty Penny. All right, these are my samples from Some Bitty Penny. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, here's my first one. I just did the same thing. I actually stamped this on white paper. I want to show you. Then I did colored pencil. I used Prisma colored pencils, and I colored and shaded all the swirls and things in different 2 shades of green. Then I did 2 shades of pink, and then I just took my blender pencil from Prismacolor and blended it. Then I did 2 shades of brown in the openings, blender pencil to blend it. And then I just did pink around those little edges. Then I did a die cut scalloped edging die. It's an edger, so scalloped. Then I did craft with a quilted die on the back. Then what I did, I wanted this color to be a little bit more vibrant. So then I just took and I embossed this whole thing with clear embossing powder. So I just smushed my Versamark all over it and then clear embossing powder to get a good little shine, little something something on there. So that's my first one. Okay, second one, same set. I did my favorite embossing powder, Bubbly, and I just embossed it. So this is the same as technique as this. Same. Then I just did blue. 1 color blue, and I just didn't even wet it down. I just took my watercolor with water and I just smeared it in, and I didn't even mask it off. I was just careful around the edges until it picked up all in between the lines of this one. So it's a nice champagne-y with a little bit of blue, and I thought believe, because this still could be Christmas or it could be just believe in yourself, or a little positivity card with some glitter paper. Right? My next one is a deconstruct. So I took my shimmer powder, those powders that I just did. I did red and green, and I dabbled them. And then nope, is this shimmer powder? No, this was watercolor. Sorry, this was watercolor. Then I sprayed a little shimmer over it and ink splattered it with gold. Put the Holly Jolly in archival so it would stick to that shimmer, because that shimmer doesn't stick really well. Then I just took stamped and heat embossed in gold, one of those Some Bitty, right? And I cut off the edges so it was smooth on the edges, and then I just did a little banner cut and made a little banner out of this one. Easy peasy, simple, very simple, right? All right, my last one from this set is this one. And so I just took and stenciled. I had already pre-colored one of the stamps. So I stamped it out of the Some Bitty Penny. I colored the whole thing with Prisma colored pencils. Should have took a picture of it before, actually. Then I cut it in three even strips, and I stamped the middle first. So I stamped my sentiment, then I put my stencil over and just went up towards it, got close to it with my stencil with 2 different colored greens. I did green and pink because I knew I'd already colored green and pink of this stamp. Cut this stamp in 3, and then I just kind of laid it out like washi tape was my idea, just so it was looking like a washi tape kind of thing, right? Nice and bright. I thought this one was just a bright, like, good positive card to just be you, live your story kind of card and make it bright. So that's my last one with the Bitty Penny set. Okay, so let me throw these over my shoulder. Okay, next one is the stocking. And I did 3 with the stocking. So this one here goes back to, this is the same. Let me grab it. Similar technique that I did today with this one. Okay? But instead, I used the top portion of the Christmas balls of the stocking, and I just Versamarked it and embossed it in red. Heat embossed that in red. So this is embossed. It's not inked. It's embossed. So it's got some texture. I took Making Spirits Bright, put that in black, and then I just did a little black matte to make that pop up against a silver glitter paper. Okay, so that is, you can see it shine. That is heat embossed. Simple. You could mass produce this one in no problem for Christmas, right? So that's the first one. Second one, this is one of my faves that I have made so far. All right, this one I took and just die cut out, so it's a stitch die. You can see the stitching there along the edge, a whole full panel. So this is 5.5 by 4.25 panel cut out with a stitch die, so it was nice and clean. Then I used a background of a, this is a woven die or whatever, I just got it. I did Distress Spray Stain and got it nice and shimmery red on that. Die cut out new holly leaves that I had. Then this is the top of that stocking cut out, and I colored it in the browns, or excuse me, greens, pinks, and purples, and some red to stick with my whole theme of all these cards. So that is the top piece of my stocking. And then I did the same thing here. I used the Distress Shimmer Spray on a piece of paper. Then I heat embossed Making Spirits Bright on that, so it matches to that, brings that forward, and then that as your little focal point. This one I think is my favorite card I made out of this whole set. And again, took me a while to deconstruct and figure something out. Again, my idea with some of these was go into your stash. Combine this stuff with your stash. I know Des loves, like, use what you got. And so I went through stash, and I went through how can I make this incorporate this, and then make this her stamp the feature, and that's what we did with this card. So, all right. The holly leaves are pink and Maine. Just FYI, all these dies were pink and Maine because I just bought a slew of them, and I couldn't wait to play. And then this is my last one of the stocking. So this is actually the first one I stamped and colored, but it's one of the last cards I made because, yes, Desi threw me for a stump on this stamp. I was so excited to do the pinks and the browns and the greens and tones that I'd seen on a recent thing with the 2025 colors. So that's what I did. I did greens, browns, and pinks on this whole stocking. Colored it. I fussy cut it, and it sat there because I'm like, what do I do with this? So then I went back and went 5x7 card, because don't make enough of those, right? So this is a 5x7 card. Put craft, I put pink. Then I did a white background, and I did a candy cane stencil with pink and green, and put this on. Too much, I couldn't, too much. I just softened it with vellum. Then I used an edge die and cut out some of this glimmer paper in the corners. Added some bling, right? Just some enamel dots, and added this. And then I ended up, I think, with a beautiful color combo. I love this color combo. It's just totally. All of this, sorry, I didn't mention, I don't think. All of this, Prismacolor colored pencils. I used 2 shades of each. 2 shades of pink, 2 shades of green, 2 shades of brown. And then that's how you got the one pink with the darker pink. 2 shades of each. On all of it. Every single piece where it's pink, it's 2 shades, green is 2 shades, and so on. Okay? All right, that is the last with the stocking. All right, this one I'm going to grab these other two. These other two are drying, and I don't want to muck them up. So this one is the frame, that 5x7 frame. This was deconstructed again. I took watercolor on a scratch piece of paper, and I put blues and pinks, dabbled them in chunks next to each other, dried it. Then I took gold watercolor, and I just dabbled it over the top of that, dried it. So that's how I get this pink, this blue, and with a little bit of fleck of gold. Then I stamped over the frame, and I kind of placed it where I just did a spot. I did a spot about this big with watercolor. Then I took the concentration part of this stamp. So I took this piece of this stamp and put it over that blob, stamped it several times in archival, because I have some gold as shimmer. Archival, hit it with my heat tool just to dry it. Then I took this new die set that I had, and I die cut out this focal point, did the frame. Then I found in my drawer, in my stash, some washi paper to match. So I have pink glimmer washi tape, and I had yellow washi tape, and I just put that behind. This, I just did the same. I had blue and pink. I used a this thing that went viral. It's a sandwich bag with some bubble wrap in there, tied off, and I dabbed it in I ink smushed my pink and blue, wet it, dab, 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 dab. That's my background. So this one is that deconstructed frame set. And then I just added the sentiment on the bottom. All right, here is the full-on, full Monty frame. And I actually took white paper, and I took my Versamark all the way around the edge, and then I put crusty copper embossing powder and embossed it. Then I took brown, a dark brown paper, and I took this same stamp set and I stamped it in the corner. So I took this on this brown piece of paper, and I stamped the corner like this. No, I stamped it like this. So I got stamped here and stamped here, and I embossed it with my favorite Bubbly. Okay, Bubbly by Brutus Monroe. I embossed that piece, then I flipped it, and I did the same on this corner. I embossed this chunk of the floral and embossed it. Then I did the Bubbly on here on white, and then this is all shimmer watercolor. All of it. All shimmer watercolor. And this is my second one I did, but one of the second to last cards I made, because I did the whole thing, and then what do I do with it? I tried to stick with the pinks and some greens, added a little bit of blue, the brownish gold with some copper. Look at all the shimmer on this one. I debated on putting a Christmas sentiment, but the BU fit perfectly right in here, and it just wasn't total Christmassy. It could be Christmassy, but I thought this is just a great BU card. Right? All right. Oh, I hope I didn't schmuck it. I just laid it on my wet card. All right. My last two cards I did with this, I took a 5.25 by 5.5 by 4.25 card panel on watercolored paper. Then I watercolored the whole thing. I just wet it, and I put pink and greens all over, tipped it to run it, and dried it. Okay? Then what I did is I took these new edge dies that I got from Pink and Maine, and I cut the one corner off. So if you imagine this as a full piece, colored like this, I took that edge die, placed it where I wanted it, and die cut that off. And then I had this chunk. Then I took, after I cut it, and I stamped and embossed in black that frame die. Again, just kind of, you can see a portion of the frame right there. I just stamped it so it covered as much of that piece as I could. Heat embossed it in black. Glued it down to my white cardstock, stamped in dark brown, Live Your Story. Then I just took some pink Nouveau drops to match. This is what's drying. To match this pinky kind of color. So I got yellow, brown, and pinks going on. Now, I had this piece left. What do you do with it? I'm not throwing it away. So I made another one. So then I just took the other piece of that. So you can see where the other piece was cut out. And then I took the stocking You can see that this is the stocking, right? And I embossed the stocking in black, trying to cover up as much as I could. And you can kind of see it only went up to about here. Then I took a little piece of the stocking and just covered up that last little piece that didn't, it was too much blank up there, so I just threw a chunk up there. Laid it sideways, took Smile from another stamp set of Desiree's, stamped it in an orangey yellow. Then I took an orangey yellow Nouveau drops and just followed my line to accent that. So that, 2 cards in one, right? I'm going to set these aside before I schmuck my Nouveau drops. All right, you guys, last one, and these are, oof, man. These ones I went out on. All right, this is the, I'm putting this aside so you can't see the next ones. This is the tangled rope. I did a Halloween card, so here's my Halloween card with that tangled rope. These were extras from another team that I had already made, so I just die cut those out. You can see in the back here, I took and embossed the whole tangled rope set. I embossed in like a deep rusty orange. Then I took gray and black and just ink blended blotchy gray and black, splattered it in copper. Then I used my arch die and cut out a chunk, layered it with just a nice grayish purple shimmer paper, put some designer paper behind it that had Halloween, and just layered this up. Then I used the Everything Halloween stamp from the set as my little banner. Again, combining all these elements, and you've got great texture and design. And do you have to see what that is? No, it's just the texture, right? So I don't have to feature it as the design and see what that whole thing was. That's my one Halloween card. Now I took another 5x7, so this is the tangled rope. I flipped it so that my hearts were heart-shaped, so I could put the sentiment on the bottom. So I love with all your heart sentiment. On watercolored paper, stamped it, embossed it in a, this was like a champagne-y pink. Again, this is watercolor. So this is pink watercolor. And I did 2 different shades of pink for the whole thing. Deepened my pink for a few little accents on there. And then I did a copper, but I just kind of went around the edges of the frame and left some white space just to give it that roundness shape. Ink splattered it. 5x7 card, you guys. I did it. I did some 5x7s. Yeah, this is a lot of space. So it's, how do you fill that? What do you do with that? So this is one. Now the next 5x7, I took and deconstructed. So I embossed it in gold. I just took the whole thing and did it in pink. So I wet each spot, did most of it in pink, some light pinks, some deeper shades of pink, an even deeper shade of pink, and just did 2 or 3 different shades of pink on this whole thing. Then I fussy cut all this out. Then I took a razor and cut out these sections here and here and here so I could make little slots to put a little banner of my sentiment going through. I used another product from a different company. I used some glitter glaze through a stencil that I felt matched these little shapes of the Zentangle. Ink blended some pink, and I just put it on black. What do you think? Do we like? Do we like? So this is 5x7 as well. Okay? Lots of retail on these. All right. My last and final card is this one. And this one I used the tangled rope. So I used a red cardstock. I did tone on tone. So I stamped it in a dark cranberry red. Then I took with white colored pencil and went through and just accented all over that with white. And then I took a gold gel pen and accented along the rope where the dark was in gold gel pen. And that's it. Then what I did is I embossed it. I just used a sunflower embossing folder. You can't even tell that it's sunflowers, but it just gives me texture. You can't even tell that is sunflowers, but there's texture on here. Embossed that in a embossing folder. Then I took the bitty penny set, and I cut out the die. So I used a die cut for this. Cut out 3 different shapes of dies. This one I laid it diagonal, and I embossed it with. I used all the bubbly champagne embossing powder on all these. So I laid it diagonal, embossed it. Then I taped it off with my 3M tape, and I ink blended it all red. This one, I laid it this way, embossed it in champagne. I taped off my very edges here, and I ink blended it in green. This one, I covered the whole little thing, embossed it in my champagne, and ink blended it yellow, and layered that up. And then I did Very Merry in a white embossing powder, because I ink blended this dark green on white, and then white on the Very Merry. All right, let's just pull these out one at a time and just show you one final time. Thank you so much. I know we're going at an hour and a half. I am done. I just want to show you guys these final cards before we go. Look at the texture on that puppy. These, and then they're probably almost dry, but we'll lay them on top. And then last and final. Hope you guys like. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Would very much appreciate it if you're liking all these. Thumbs up. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll throw that up. How many did we make? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I should have made one more. All right, last and final thing. This was my idea very last minute of a deconstruct. And I thought any of these stamps would be great for anybody that wants to do stuff like this and use parts of it. Wouldn't it be cool to make a postage stamp set out of this, and then stamp these little pieces and then layer it up as postage stamps and have all these designs that you could do black and white. I could emboss them, I could color them, and do any of these techniques to color these little pieces. And I think that would look so classy and elegant, and then just put a set, like one of the bigger sentiments, the Very Merry or something, right in the very middle. I think would look so cool as a postage stamp. Wish I would have had time to do that one. But anyway, let's head up to my face cam. You guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Hopefully you guys like these cards, and this gave you some ideas. And man, oh man, go back and watch Desi's stuff. She's got amazing ideas on hers. Bitty Penny's going to have some stuff coming up, I believe, if she hasn't already. This gives you some more ideas. Head over to includeathankyou.com. Des, thank you for trusting me with your new release. And yeah, you gave me a loop on this one, but I think we panned out some really great cards. So I challenge you to get some Zentangle. Zentangle yourself some cards. Zentangle yourself some fall and winter and holiday cards out of these 4 sets. And I appreciate you all. And again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Follow me. Got all kinds of ideas. More to come on Zentangle and Desiree stuff as well. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your afternoon on this Sunday afternoon. And thanks for hanging with me. All right, you guys. Bye-bye.